Okay, today we talk about one of my all-time favourite albums by one of my all-time favourite bands, with one of my all-time favourite vocalists, Ronnie James Dio. We're talking about Ritchie Blackmore's Rainbow from 1975. Recorded in Germany, it goes about 40 minutes worth. This was Ritchie Blackmore's band after Deep Purple, and this was a massive step for Ronnie James Dio, who was still kind of a newcomer at this point. Now, Ronnie James Dio was with a blues rock band called Elf prior to Rainbow, and with the problems that were going on in Deep Purple at that time, Ritchie was obviously looking elsewhere for talent, and Elf opened for Deep Purple. It was at this point that Ritchie obviously took note of Ronnie's monstrous vocals and immense talent. Once Deep Purple had folded, Ritchie obviously had a card up his sleeve by the name of Ronnie James Dio. So Ritchie Blackmore's Rainbow was born. Now, the band lineup in this first album consisted of mostly Elf members. It was after this album was released, Ritchie had fired everybody apart from Ronnie, which kind of seems like typical Blackmore-esque behaviour. Don't get me wrong, I'm a big Ritchie Blackmore fan. In fact, in a list of favourite guitar players, he's probably right at the top. His guitar playing is just magic, and well, with somebody that is so immensely talented like that, you get a bit of that artsy-fartsy behaviour as well. So we have Ronnie James Dio on lead vocals. Those who aren't enlightened as to who Ronnie James Dio is, well, Ronnie James Dio went on to join Black Sabbath soon after Ozzy Osbourne's departure. After that, he went on to a very notable solo career with Dio, reunited with Black Sabbath again, went back to Dio. Well, it goes on and on, so maybe we'll talk more about Dio in another video. Again, one of my all-time favourite vocalists. Ritchie Blackmore on guitar, Craig Gruber on bass. He was with Oz, a couple of albums with Bible Black, and 2 stints with Gary Moore. Gary Driscoll on drums. After Rainbow, Gary Driscoll went with the band Dakota, before starting Bible Black with Craig Gruber. Gary met a tragic end as he was found murdered in New York. His brutal murder remains unsolved, and he was 41 years old. Mickey Lee Soul on piano and organ, and mellotron. Now, Mickey Lee Soul did a lot of work with Ian Gillan, Roger Glover. He was there for that Deep Purple orchestra concert in 2000. Shoshana did backing vocals. Martin Birch produced this album. Very popular producer. He's been associated with Fleetwood Mac, Deep Purple, Whitesnake, Iron Maiden, Blue Oyster Cult, and Black Sabbath. The song Hard Lovin' Man by Deep Purple is actually about him. He retired in 1992 after producing Iron Maiden's Fear of the Dark. It's everything that a great album from the 70s should be. Everything just sounds so well crafted. Ronnie's voice is so young and fresh and powerful. You could tell that Ronnie was going to go far. Ritchie's guitar, again, magic as usual. There was just this blend that happened between the two of them, songwriting wise and musically wise. You can really hear this on the album. And the album is so smoothly crafted. It's mastered in such a way that everything is equal, everything is great. David Willardson did the cover artwork, great looking cover. This is what a rock album cover should look like. David is an award-winning illustrator and has done quite a lot of work on Disney movie posters. He did the iconic American Graffiti album cover, some work for Rolling Stone magazine covers, and the Fender guitar poster series. There's 2 covers on this album. Black Sheep of the Family, which is a Quatermass cover. Now, Quatermass, you may not be familiar with them. British rock band from London, late 60s, early 70s. And Still I'm Sad, which is a Yardbirds cover, which just sounds beautifully played by Ritchie Blackmore. Man on the Silver Mountain, which is the opening track. It just sets a tone for the entire album. It's not too fast-paced, it's not too slow. It's got this great groove to it. By the time we get to Catch the Rainbow, it's like, wow, there's just something special about this song. It's dreamy. It takes you places. You know how songs and albums can take you places? Well, for me, this takes me to all sorts of places. Good places. Not places where you waste your petrol getting there and say, well, this is it, is it? Snake Charmer, Temple of the King, another dreamy-like song. Just beautifully crafted. Like, Temple of the King was quite popular in Asia. There was a guy that I knew from Singapore. He knew some really obscure music. The second that I mentioned Rainbow to him one time, he says, "Oh, Temple of the King." I said, "How do you know Temple of the King?" It's like, well, apparently it got a lot of airplay in his parts, so Come to think of it, my time in Thailand, I'd gone to a karaoke bar, and they obviously had their list of English songs there, and in their list of English songs, I saw Rainbow. I thought, oh cool, Rainbow. Can't be the same Rainbow that I know. And Temple of the King was there. And I gladly had a few drinks and sang the song. Really strange, that was the only Rainbow song that was on the list. So I guess that song did have some popularity in Asia. If you don't like rock and roll, a very rock and roll-like song, obviously. Good song there. 16th Century Greensleeves. Bit of a tongue twister there. Very much down Ritchie Blackmore's alley. But check out the album, it's great.